It is another Tuesday, which of course means it is Let's Talk Tuesdays. My name is BrendenPlayz. We are coming off an okay week in wrestling. It's a little better than what I was feeling like a few days ago. If you heard me on the podcast I did a couple of days ago for Ian Hansen's channel, I ranted and I got everything that was bothering me with the WWE off my chest. So I'm feeling a little better about the WWE right now. So my mind is clear and I'm ready to go to answer your questions for today's show. So the first one comes from Nabakos7. What did you think of last night's Raw? Well, you know, compared to last week's Raw, it was miles better. Last week's Raw was honestly probably the worst show I've probably seen ever, and worst Raw I've seen in a long time. You know, normally a lot of people say, okay, this is like the worst Raw of all time. I actually end up kind of somewhat enjoying those Raws, but the last week's show, the only segment I enjoyed was the Rock segment. The rest I could not give a shit about. So this week, though, was much better, I thought. I thought Dean Ambrose winning and getting the opportunity to face Seth Rollins and Hell in a Cell, despite the bullshit finishes and, you know, the screwy bullshit they have to do to keep Cena from losing cleanly. You know, I'm happy that Ambrose is going to get that match. So that, to me, as a fan, has kind of lifted a bit of weight off my shoulders and a little bit of stress on me, because I was thinking the whole time that Cena's going to face Rollins and, you know, just destroy this whole storyline. But no, Cena's done the right thing. It does mean we get Cena and Orton, though, and I'll talk about those matches in more detail coming up. But, you know, good show overall. There wasn't as much, you know, ridiculousness. Like, there was no dwarf match. There was that special guest, I don't even know who the fuck she is, Nene, whatever the fuck, whoever the fuck. She was on there, but she was only on there for a cup of coffee. Plus, I fast-forwarded that segment anyway, so I didn't see it. I saw the little backstage promo she was doing with Cameron. Jesus Christ, that was awful. But other than that, you know, there really wasn't much to complain about. It was a good overall show. I enjoyed it, and Damien Sandow was probably the highlight of the show, in my opinion. God, I love his gimmick. He's absolutely hilarious. You know, him and The Miz, perfect combination. And I wonder if they're going to make them team up soon. I think that'd be pretty cool if they become a tag team. But yeah, anyways, good show overall. Enjoyed it. And it's a bit of a relief because I was starting to lose the faith. This one is from Bailey14. Who do you think will go over in both the Hell in a Cell matches? Well, I would give Randy Orton a 1% chance of winning his match against John Cena. Cena will win that match, probably squeaky clean, just to make Cena look good. And to be honest, I don't even care. I'm expecting Cena to win. I'll be shocked if Orton wins, but I really won't care. I don't think the WWE have any major plans for Orton, whereas I feel as though they're going to try and push Cena back into the title picture when, you know, if Lesnar is going to compete, who knows if he will. So I think they're going to keep Cena booked strong for that regard. He's booked strong all the time anyways. As for the other one, which I hope is the main event, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, I'll be quite annoyed if it is in the main event, because I feel as though it's a much bigger match on, you know, not on paper. Orton and Cena is a bigger match, but in terms of the storyline that's going on, everything's revolving around Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, so that should be the main event. Otherwise, you know, what the fuck. But I feel as though Dean Ambrose is going to win, and I don't know. I'm really kind of torn. One way I can see Kane or Randy Orton or somebody getting involved and trying to screw over Seth Rollins. We could even see Randy Orton getting involved and helping Dean Ambrose to get the victory and screwing Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton will turn face, then go into feud with Seth Rollins once Dean Ambrose gets the victory. So Dean Ambrose gets his victory against Seth Rollins, gets his hands on Seth Rollins, gets his revenge, and then Orton screws Seth Rollins, and then we have a Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton feud. To be honest, that'd be pretty cool. I would think that would be a cool feud there. Just kind of, you know, begs the question, what will Ambrose do? Does he have a face versus face feud with John Cena? Yeah, I don't know. But I think Ambrose will win. I feel as though there will be some interference involved. I know it's Hell in a Cell, so you're probably thinking of how the hell they're going to interfere. But I think they're going to find a way to screw him over, whether it's, you know, a sneak attack before the match or something's going to happen to help Rollins out in some regard. You can't expect the Authority just to sit back and nothing happens. So they will get involved somehow, but I still feel as though Ambrose will get the victory in the end. but I could see a bullshit finish for Seth Rollins, but I can't see Seth Rollins beating Ambrose clean, whereas I can see Ambrose finally getting his revenge and beating Rollins clean, which I feel as though should be what happens, and let them move on to something else, because this feud is, starting to lose a bit of steam. This next question comes from Jason Marshall. What do you think of the rumors of the Wyatt family splitting up so Bray Wyatt can lead the Ascension? Doesn't make much sense to me. Well, it doesn't make much sense to me either, to be honest, because I felt as though the Wyatt family had a lot more to accomplish. They never really amounted to their full potential. They had a great rivalry with the Shield, but other than that, what else did they really accomplish? I mean, Bray Wyatt was going okay as a singles guy, then he met John Cena, derailed him, still remained relevant with Chris Jericho, but then they took him off TV. They took both the Wyatts, all the Wyatts off TV. I don't know why. Harper and Rowan should have won the tag belts against the Usos months and months ago, and they should have booked Bray Wyatt to win some kind of title, whether it was the mid-card or world title. Probably not world title, but maybe a mid-card title, so they all held the belts maybe and make them a strong, dominant stable, whereas they had Harper and Rowan, these massive guys, losing week after week after week to every fucking body. Like, how can the WWE expect these guys to be successful if they're just losing all the time? And they're such a big team, literally. They got this huge size, this presence, this aura about them. These are big guys, and yet they booked them like a joke. And I don't know what they're doing with Bray Wyatt, because he was over. Bray Wyatt was getting big cheers. His entrance was epic. Everyone's got their phones out, lighting up that entrance. The crowd were into it. I feel as though Bray Wyatt, though, as an in-ring competitor, is probably not the way to go. I think a manager role is probably more suited to Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt, when he's cutting a promo, when he's coming out to his entrance, he'll get a reaction. But when he's in the ring, it just kind of loses a lot of that momentum. It just dies down a little bit. He just can't really connect with the fans and get heat in the ring. So I feel as though, like Bray Wyatt, his promos were becoming very repetitive. He was doing the same thing over and over. So that's really why Wyatt was losing a lot of momentum with that Jericho feud. Jericho was great in it, and, it was great that Jericho put Wyatt over. But Wyatt was essentially not evolving his character, in my opinion, and that's what really brought to his downfall. Plus the WWE's booking with him as well, of course. That never helps. So the Wyatts going solo, I don't know. I feel as though Eric Rowan's going to struggle. I think Luke Harper will be them pushed out of the two. Eric Rowan may get like a 2-month push, and then that'll be the end of him. Whereas Harper, they may invest more time into him, maybe 6 months before, they pull the plug on him if it's not successful. As for the Ascension, I think a mouthpiece could do a lot of good for them. Is Bray Wyatt the right man for them? I don't know, because essentially you're just recreating the Wyatts with the two new guys who aren't as big, aren't as intimidating, but are pretty cool. The Ascension are okay. I haven't seen much of them, but they're an okay team. So, I don't know. Probably a big thumbs down from me. I don't want to see the Wyatts split up, but look, if they're not going to be treated and booked properly, then maybe it's the best thing for them. Nabako 7 asks, who should be the one to pin or submit Rusev in your opinion? Well, I don't think there really is one right person, because if you have him lose to Cena, I get the feeling that he's going to never recover from there. It's got to make someone that makes sense. It's got to be someone that makes sense, sorry. And I think the only person that really makes sense storyline-wise and, just realistically is Kurt Angle. And I've said that all along. I think Kurt Angle should be the one to feud with Rusev. And if Angle beats Rusev, I don't think it will hurt Rusev. Whereas if it's Cena who beats Rusev, I feel as though he won't be able to recover from there. Angle, an Olympic hero, American hero. If he beats Rusev, it makes sense storyline-wise, and it would be okay for Rusev. But the fact is, can he last until he may be at WrestleMania undefeated? I don't know, but hey, wouldn't it be a big storyline at WrestleMania? Kurt Angle, he's comeback, maybe even his comeback match versus Rusev, who's undefeated. Man, that would be epic. So, America versus Russia, literally, one of the great American heroes in wrestling, one of the top guys in the history of wrestling, one of the big drawing cards in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. Kurt Angle coming back to face Rusev, that'd be huge, and Rusev could lose that one, and I think he'd be fine from there, and maybe have another couple of matches and Rusev ends up winning the feud, perhaps. I don't know. But I think it's going to be Kurt Angle. If not, I could honestly see John Cena doing it, and that'll be the end of Rusev right there and then. The next one is from Munda. Who do you think should come up from NXT right now? Honestly, nobody. Because if you are on the main roster right now, you are a detriment to your career. Bo Dallas, look at him, going nowhere. Rusev, probably doing the best out of the NXT call-ups at the moment. Paige, she's done okay. She was struggling at first, but she's come good. I'm starting to like Paige a little more. Adam Rose, complete utter failure. He was doing well for, a week? And, I said months ago that his gimmick would be done in a month. And the only thing that's keeping Adam Rose somewhat relevant is a fucking bunny. So, go figure. So, at the moment, being called up from NXT is probably not a good thing for you. So, all those people who are saying, when's Sami Zayn getting called up? You probably don't want him to get called up because, at the moment, if you get called up, you get lost in the shuffle, you get a 2-week or 2-month push at best, and, if you don't get over ASAP, they just forget about you and they give up on you. So, it's ridiculous. It's a joke. The WWE's booking right now is horrible. I've criticized it heavily in the past few days, but at the moment, I don't want anyone from NXT called up because it will just honestly be a detriment to their career. They'll probably get lost in the shuffle, and unless the WWE sees them as a huge commodity, they're not really going to go anywhere. This next one is from Dan Elcock. What do you think WWE will do with Bad News Barrett when he returns? Well, the question I have is, will Bad News Barrett be a heel or a babyface? If he's a heel, a program with Ziggler would be pretty good. If Ziggler's still the Intercontinental Champion, I think that would work, and that's probably what they're going to be working towards, in my opinion. If he's a face, I could see him probably doing something with The Miz, probably doing something with Bo Dallas, maybe something like that. But I feel as though he'll be in that upper mid or mid-card role. But I think he'll probably win his IC title back. And I don't know, I don't really see Bad News Barrett as main event material. The gimmick itself is not main event material, in my opinion. So him being Intercontinental Champion, I think, is where he is best suited right now. And I think that's the logical step to take when he does come back. This one is from Callum Boy. What do you think happened to Fandango? Well, it's the same that's happened to majority of the roster. Fandango was not over. He was struggling. He was getting pushed, and then he didn't get over. I don't know, they just lost faith in him, and then they started jobbing him out every week and turned him into basically the next Heath Slater, jobbing him out to everybody. He was getting bitched out by Summer Rae and Layla and shit like that, and oh man, Fandango I think may be done. I honestly think Fandango may be getting released because he's been in the company for a while now. He's been in the developmental and the NXT for a while, and the Fandango gimmick was working for a little bit, but essentially the only thing that got him over was the song. The song's no longer relevant. Fandango's no longer relevant. He's a decent talent, but just probably doesn't have it. And I think the WWE have tried with Fandango, and I think the next step to take would probably be to letting him go. I don't think the WWE sees anything in him anymore, and I think they gave him all the chance, arguably with a pretty fucking hard gimmick to get over with, but, I just think as though there's other talent on the roster, so probably Fandango. Don't be surprised in the next 6 months that he's let go. This next question is from Irvin Boehner. Do you think the Nexus should return? I think there will be a Nexus-style invasion. The Big Five at NXT. Kenta or Itami, Devitt or Baylor, whatever you want to call them. I refuse to pretty much use Finn Balor as a fucking name. That's awful. Sami Zayn, Neville, and Kevin Steen. I think they're going to do a big invasion-style angle with those five. And honestly, that would be epic because the Nexus, look at the Nexus. Who really has achieved anything from the Nexus? Daniel Bryan was in the Nexus for a day. So other than him, who's really amounted to anything? Wade Barrett's doing okay. Ryback was doing good. Now look at him now. Darren Young, irrelevant. Heath Slater, irrelevant. Justin Gabriel, irrelevant. So Nexus just didn't have the crop of superstars, in my opinion, to make it a legitimate stable in hindsight. Whereas I feel as though the big five from NXT could really make a huge impact. They had that independent following, that cult following, so, you know, they're smaller guys, but I still think they could make a good impact, and it would be exciting and be cool, and it give them all a huge impact when they first arrive to the WWE, rather than trying to make them all singles guys alone. Group them up together, so you hide their flaws, you allow them to get over together, you know, you don't put as much pressure on them to get over individually, so that way you probably will have more success when they first start out with it. You know, like, look at the Shield and the Wyatts. You know, when they started out as a group, it was much easier. Now they've been introduced for a while, they can start to branch out as solos much more successfully, so I think that's a much better way to go about debuting these guys who I think the WWE see as huge stars for the future. Debut them and ease them in rather than just throwing them out there. Hey, this is Sami Zayn, here you go. No, better way just to group them together and give them more of a chance, in my opinion. The next one is from Dynamite Jordan 07. What was your favorite championship of all time? It's got to be the big gold World Heavyweight Championship belt. Epic title, looks awesome. Hate what they did to the title in the last few years, but I don't want to see the title back. It's done, but, you know, beautiful looking belt and definitely my favorite. Today's final question comes from Top Toffee Ellis. He wants to know, will I think WWE 2K15 be a successful game, and what will be the best mode? I think career mode will probably be the best mode, because I think as though they've put the most amount of time into career mode. WWE 2K15, I've said it all along, this will probably be the best WWE game of all time. It's got all the foundations to be a successful game. I'm a little worried about their marketing, but other than that, I feel as though this is going to be a great game. Looking forward to it. Career mode, I think, will be my most played mode, but obviously Universe mode is going to be a pivotal part of my channel, so I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I think this game's going to be epic. So if you're on the fence, definitely get it, man. I'm keen for it. I cannot wait, and I'm going to support this game. I really want everyone, and I encourage everyone to get this game. Support the developers. That will do it for today's Let's Talk Tuesdays. Please leave your questions for next week's episode in the comments section down below or over at the forums, BrendenPlayz.com/forums. Thanks guys for watching. Please subscribe, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you all next week. Continue the discussion about this video and everything to do with BrendenPlayz by using the hashtag BPZ.